Now you probably saw our review of the ASUS ProArt StudioBook Pro X. Now that's a creator laptop. Now let's say you're a creator and a gamer and you want to have a little bit of fun. This is going to blow your mind. The ASUS Zenbook ProDuo. Now this is the UX581G. So before we kick it off, there's a 14-inch and a 15-inch model. The 14-inch has two full HD displays and the 15-inch has two 4K displays. That bottom little display is a 4K display. Did I mention they were touchscreen? Now before you go ahead and you say, oh, touchscreen, it's a gimmick, or the pointless negatives that you hear online today about modern day laptops where you cannot game on the laptop because the battery won't last, or you cannot edit 4K footage because the battery won't last. Let's be real. Is there any professional gamer or creator that plays or creates not plugged in? I thought so. So now that those pointless negatives are out the way, let me give you a proper rundown. A 4K 15.4 inch 3840 by 2160 OLED HDR display on the top, touch screen, and a 4K 3840 by 1100 display on the bottom, also touch screen. Why aren't laptop manufacturers doing this all the time? Now to make that sound even better, this is 133% sRGB color accurate, 100% DCI-P3. Just doesn't get better, does it? Now, I have a UX581G model. So my unit has an Intel Core i7 processor. It's a 2.66 gigahertz hexa-core, which can be turbo boosted up to 4.5 gigahertz. As for the graphics card, it's running an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060 with 6 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. So this is why the creator and the gamer thing starts coming together, especially on a machine like this. As for memory, this has 16 gigs of DDR4 2666 megahertz of RAM, and instead of the 16 gigs, you can get the 32 gig option, as well as an i9 processor. So let's say that this is somewhat the base model, if you will. As for ports, we're sitting with one Thunderbolt 3 USB-C, two USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type A's, a standard HDMI 2.0, an audio jack, and a DC in. Now you do have a backlit keyboard, and the keyboard is not sitting here where it normally would, so you don't have that space at the bottom. In saying that, the trackpad has been shifted over to the side, and you've got that super cool ASUS numeric keypad that pops up. The trackpad's also smart gesture, so up to 4 fingers you can control your entire device with smart gestures. But in the box, ASUS actually gives you a palm pad. Now what makes it pretty cool is when this is in charge mode, or you switch on the dynamic fan, this little light pops up and it shines through the palm pad and lights up. Pretty nifty little feature. Now if you're thinking to yourself, well, now I've got to carry around this. To be quite honest, if you're a gamer, creator, and you have one of these potent laptops in your bag, you've probably got a pair of headphones, meaning your bag's probably big enough to also carry the mouse that you're using to game or create, meaning you definitely have space for an ultra thin palm pad. I don't really like a normal laptop, as the edges are a bit sharp, and sitting with your hands elevated coming down on a keyboard isn't as comfortable as having them a little bit lower, like you do get on these palm pads, why a lot of people actually buy them for normal keyboards. I have a 512 gig PCIe SSD, and obviously depending on the model, that can also change. An IR camera, so you can use Windows Hello at night, because why not? And then have you noticed how everyone has to find a negative about any new product? Someone has to be watching this thinking to themselves, it's all cool, but I need a stylus. Thank you, ASUS. Yes, a functional stylus. with buttons. While I was editing this video, clothes change, I looked over and I was like, I forgot to tell you guys, one of the most coolest things, typical ASUS, sound by Harman Kardon. Now for the fun part, the part that everyone's been waiting for. Besides for the specs, besides for everything else, what makes this the ASUS Zenbook ProDuo? And to be blunt, I find it extremely awful and primitive, going back to an Apple MacBook with a touch bar that seems somewhat useless, and that's just not my opinion. It's everyone's. Now if you're wondering how this could change the game, excuse the pun, imagine you're a Twitch streamer. You game on the top and you've got your Twitch feed at the bottom. Your chats are open. You see where I'm going with this. Perhaps you just want a game with really unreal graphics. Run Tomb Raider in 4K on the highest possible graphics, include an HDR mode on a 4K HDR monitor, and get over 40 frames per second. The power that you get with 16 gigs of RAM, and this is the i7 model, not even the i9 with 32 gigs, is unreal. Now keep in mind, 40 plus FPS for Tomb Raider is really high. It may not be the highest that there is on a desktop computer, but for a laptop, it's extremely high. And something like Tomb Raider doesn't need higher than 40 FPS. Now let's say you're a creator, you're a video editor, you absolutely love multitasking, getting home, plugging into your big monitors, but you're out. You're traveling. You're a travel creator. So you get back to your hotel, wherever you are, you put your video editing timeline on the second display at the bottom. You can still touch it, move it around if you will, and you can carry on editing. Maybe you don't want your video timeline over there and you want your histogram and your scopes. Whatever you want to do with the second display, you can. Now we get to my favorite part of a dual screen. And this isn't about putting a second Twitch stream or a timeline. This is the part that almost every single person can relate to using a dual screen. Let's say you're a photographer. You've got Lightroom open on your big screen and you're busy editing. But as you know, majority of creators and anyone in the industry and anyone on the planet, including you right now, you're watching this on YouTube. You can split your bottom screen in half, have YouTube on the one and your favorite messaging app on the other. While you're busy editing, you can still multitask. You can watch the next creator video, a review, and a how-to, and go along with that how-to in Lightroom on the screen above it. And this is the part where a second screen, so versatile on such a small laptop, and when I say small, it may be 2.4, 2.5 kilos, but it's not that big. For a dual screen, really potent laptop, this is insane. And that is why the ASUS Zenbook ProDuo is arguably the best laptop to ever launch as of July 2020. Do we have a mic? Mic drop. We don't have a mic. We don't. Sorry guys. So there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. We've got a ton more coming up, including some new laptops that you may have not seen yet. So smash that like button, turn that notification bell on, and we'll see you on the next one. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day, good evening, good night. Goodbye.